it's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a freshly New Year 2025 dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are still Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Also, if you haven't already, please make sure you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. That way you'll never miss when we upload a video or where we're going live and in living color. And if you are not a member already, make sure you click on the exclusive members only page to join. It's only $4.99 a month, and that entitles you to some wonderful exclusive looks at some of our day's content, plus some virtual events with us, your host of Dishin Days, and some fabulous members of our Dishin Days community. So make sure you join today. Also, make sure you listen to us on your favorite podcast station, whether you are taking a long drive down a clear, sunny road, or you're getting your New Year's resolution on by pumping those irons in the gym, or maybe you just want to sit on a grassy knoll in the park and find out what happened in that shady area of Salem today. Well, you can take us along with you on your favorite podcast station, which includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And don't forget, all of you Spotify lovers, you can now see our shining faces on Spotify. Ooh. Also, make sure you show some love to our wonderful former co-host and my chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., who is serving up a few dishes of his own. That's right. If you are a lover of soaps and want to get your fix of General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, and Young and the Restless, be sure to check out those recaps at JLJ Media on YouTube, or you can check out some of James's original audio dramas, because James is my oldest friend and the oldest friend that I know who remembered when the good old hit Auld Lang Syne was written. I had to think about how to sing it. Yeah, he was right there when it was written. He was the first one to sing it, actually. All right. We are back. Happy 2025, everyone. Happy New Year. Merry
Christmas.
Long year. Happy what?
So it's been a long year.
It has been a long year. We are only 12 days in, and we are already ready to return 2025.
Unplug it and plug it back in.
Right.
Or reset it. With the reset.
Or if you're an 80s baby.
Right.
Yeah.
That solved everything. Oh, and there's my dearest old friend, James Lott Jr., who was there for the writing of Auld Lang Syne, the New Year song that we know and love today. How were your breaks, everyone? We took a holiday break for the holidays. Had to breathe a sigh of restlessness for us. What did y'all do?
I was in Ohio for 2 weeks, which was
Ohio.
pretty lovely. Was ready to come home after the 2 weeks, but it was fun. Nice, relaxing time with the family that I don't get to see very often. So, yeah, it was good.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. I tried. Oh my gosh, I tried Bojangles chicken for the first time,
and now you're in love.
Like. Okay, I was like, Popeyes is always like top of my list, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Popeyes, Church's, KFC in terms of like fast food chicken. Bojangles.
Wait, like, you put Church's above KFC?
Uh-huh.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. Oh, Church's #1 for me. I would put Church's above Popeyes.
Okay, however, Bojangles blows all three of them out of the water. I had to have it twice. Well, I tried it the first day and I was like, I need to have this again. And it was just as good. I thought maybe I just got like a fresh batch the first time, and I'm like, oh, it's not going to be this good the second time. Nope, solid. Even my sister, who's I call her a chicken snob because she like fast food chicken is just not her thing. She ate it and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm sold. It's good. So,
did you try a bow biscuit?
Yeah, because I got a meal and it came with tenders, a biscuit, and a side.
No, I mean so when I was in high school, I used to always get the cinnamon biscuits. I think that's like the blueberry biscuits or something like that.
Oh, that sounds good.
I didn't know about that. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's only a breakfast thing.
That could be because I was there at lunchtime.
Of course you were.
But yeah, it was, oh my gosh. And the biscuits, like they said, like, biscuits from scratch. And I was like, yeah, okay, biscuits from scratch in the factory or whatever. And then they send them there. No, there was a lady like putting down flour and like punching them out. I'm like, oh no, they are. Oh. Anyway, that was, other than the family, seeing my family, that was the highlight of my Ohio trip.
I love the highlight of your whole trip was Bojangles.
After seeing my family.
Justin, anything saying?
No, I stayed in LA. I usually do with my like LA family. Had a good Christmas and yeah, it's pretty good.
That's good.
That's great.
I may or may not have needed to dole out some physical punishment to some children.
So basically, you whoop someone's ass.
Don't worry, it was with a pillow. No serious injuries were had.
That sounds like a TikTok video waiting to happen.
It really was. It really was because I was a couple drinks in and I had no chill at that point.
Well, happy holidays to you.
They gotta learn sometime.
Yeah.
When the adult says quiet, she means it.
I had a good time. I celebrated a birthday. Yay! But I had a pretty chill holidays. My roommate was very adamant about keeping the magic of Santa alive. So we went and brought a real Christmas tree, which it's still up right now. And then the night, when did we? No, we decorated the tree, and then Christmas Eve, he was like, "Oh, we got to make cookies for Santa," and I literally looked at him like, "Girl," but and then I think I left, and then I came back, and he literally had 2 cookies sitting there on a plate. It said "For Santa" with milk. And the next morning when I woke up, one of the cookies were gone, and like 2 bites of another cookie were there, and all the milk was gone. And I literally was like, he is really trying to keep the magic of Christmas going. I was like, all right, I'm here for it. I have to go with Michael Mattis with as far as like food during the holidays. I hit the trifecta and I went to all of my favorites because I found them here in California. I was able to go to a Texas Roadhouse, a Crackle Barrel, and an Applebee's all in the same night.
All fine dining, ladies and gentlemen. The finest of dining LA has to offer.
Not even LA. You got to go out to like Rancho Cucamonga to get all those 3.
I wonder why.
Listen, let me tell you, when I was riding around, I was like, I could live here. They had everything was just right there. And every
time I tell you guys that there is life past the LA border, nobody believes me.
You probably said it. We just didn't hear you or paying attention. We're still on the tamales.
And I see, this is how far this is how far away Christmas seems now to me, that I completely forgot how stressed out I was about tamale making, because I was the one that had to go pick up all the supplies this year. And
were you in the line that they saw? Like, I still watch. Even when I was in Ohio, every morning I watched KTLA News. Even though my dad's like, why are you watching that? Like, I want to keep up. And they were at somewhere in your neighborhood, and there was like a line, and you get like, they were giving out these giant bags of the masa. Is it?
It's the masa, and I had to get the 20-pound bag, and my family was like, "Oh, that's gonna be too much." And then I bought 2 bags of husks, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's gonna be too much." And lo and behold, it wasn't enough. And thank God that my aunt had actually saved some husks. So, but I was just so stressed out, because it's like, I'm not usually in charge of gathering all of that. And this year I was in charge of all of it.
Oh, that sounds like a job and a half. You know what I was in charge of as far as tamales? Looking at them.
Did you?
I still haven't tried one.
Oh my God!
But I looked at it.
What?
I watched someone on TikTok make like these spicy Cheetos ones.
Oh, gross.
It sounds gross, but the way she did it, I was like, okay. But I'm still trying to get the concept of like how to unwrap it and eat it, and what, like,
no one's asking you to make it. They're just asking you to eat it.
That's the problem. Like if you put it in front of me, I'm just gonna start. But like, there's a husk. There's the inside.
I don't think you eat the husk, right? You don't eat
the husk.
No.
Look, think of it like a Subway sandwich, okay? The husks is just what is wrapped in. You take it off, and then you just start eating.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Tony, one other place, just really quick. Someone in the chat.
Yes.
If you want good food, of course, it's not in LA. You're gonna have to drive Golden Corral, the buffet. I tried it. A friend of mine and I drove down to Downey on the first day of my work break before I went to Ohio. I was sold. I was like, I'm definitely coming back here.
I have to introduce you to Dinah's. Dinah's is so good.
Who is Dinah?
Dinah's fried chicken.
Oh.
Dinah's is really good.
Now I'm hungry.
Justin, you don't want to join in on this food conversation? You ain't eating over there?
How'd you like Los Tacos?
They weren't bad. I was side-eyeing it until I got home and opened it. And then I was like, okay, I'm not mad I paid this.
There's a famous taco place right down the street from my apartment in West Hollywood that Justin hit up on our walk home the other night. So I just had to, see how we like. Now I'm hungry.
They're a every once in a while place now. They won't be in a rotation, but
I mean, it's pricey.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Well, overall,
your LA food guide.
Yes.
LA food guide.
Happy holidays. All we did was eat. Well, we had a wonderful holiday. We missed getting on and chatting with you guys about days. But now, as you all know, LA has been hit with many, many different fires that have been popping up. We want to send our hearts, our love, our healing to those who have been affected by the fires in Los Angeles. We are very thankful and grateful that we are able to be sitting here and doing this with you today. I have been very fortunate in that I only had to deal with high winds on Tuesday, but there has been no fires relatively close to where I live. So I've been very thankful about that. But I am keeping all of my friends who I know some had to evacuate. Some have been affected by the fires. I do know of one person that did lose their home to the fires. So many different people have been affected in different ways. So we want to send our hearts out to them.
Yeah, I'll start. I'll just give a shout out to we in terms of our Days family. We know that if you've seen Jessica Sarfati, who played Sloane, she unfortunately has she lost her house in, I believe, the Palisades area. Unfortunately, if you follow her on Instagram, she sort of left this notice. As you can see, her house is completely burned down to the ground, and she was sort of sharing her thoughts on it as she sort of was able to come back to the house afterward, and just really unfortunate. We also want to send just thoughts and prayers to also Sal Stowers. Her family home in Altadena burned down. Unfortunately, this is the home that her aunt was currently in, but also was in her family for generations. So again, a family home, and they actually set up a GoFundMe account. So if you're interested in donating to that, you can find info not at Sal Stowers on Instagram at Sal Stowers. There's a link to the GoFundMe if you're interested in donating. But yeah, and other people in the sub community, we know Cameron Matheson lost his home, and others have been evacuated or lost homes. So it's really devastating. It's hard to explain it to people who aren't from LA and sort of explain. I feel like the last week I've been trying to explain LA geography to people and where it's at and how it's starting. And I think a lot of people outside of LA don't understand how half of LA can be on fire and another half can't, or why things are burning for days at a time. And it's I think it's too arduous to get into now in terms of it, but it's there are so that people understand there are multiple fires going on in all different areas, and a lot of it is kicked up because of climate and the wind and things like that. So that is a lot of the reason why there are multiple fires that are burning for days at a time. And just personally, I think we've mentioned for me and Michael are actually neighbors. And so we had an experience ourselves where there were certain fires that have been going on, and then a fire sprung up in our neighborhood, which is like the Hollywood Hills Sunset Boulevard area. And I believe Michael's like maybe 2 or 3 streets above me. And so you can tell your side. I sort of didn't have to evacuate. I was just below the warning area. So I was sort of safe, but on alert that Wednesday night, specifically when the fire sprang up. So I didn't evacuate, but was sort of like one of those people who had his bag near the door and like grabbed my passport and license and grabbed some pictures just in case I needed to evacuate. But yeah, it didn't come to that, thankfully.
Yeah, I ended up leaving just out of fear. I was 2 streets below the evacuation warning, which is not like evacuation warning means pack up your stuff in case you need to leave. And then the evacuation order is get out now.
Get out, yeah.
And I was 2 streets below the evacuation warning zone, and like I could smell, the smoke wafted over. And they say one of the reasons these fires spread the way they do is because the embers travel in the wind. And it's like the thought of like embers, and they say they can travel to 5 miles in specific scenarios. So, and when you're like 2 miles away from the fire and you think, okay, embers could come over, and yeah, I packed up some stuff. I packed up Bimby. Luckily though, they got that fire under control. By that time, they were able to fight from the air, which is part of the issue. The Palisades fire got so big because the winds were so bad that they couldn't even fight it from the air. And there's a reservoir really close to the Hollywood Hills fire where the fire was. So they were able to get control of it very quickly. So I was able to come home just after like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And luckily that one got squashed. And yeah, like Justin said, when, these houses in Altadena and Palisades that have been just obliterated, just like entire neighborhoods. These are houses, both in Palisades and Altadena, that have been in families for generations and passed down and were originally bought years and years ago before the housing in this city, and now they're done. And, just that's one of the things that's so devastating about it. It's like, it's not just a house. It's like part of these people's families. And it's just, they have now what they left with, and that's it. So I feel very fortunate, first time in 17 years living in LA, I ever felt threatened by a fire, but just very fortunate and feeling lucky that, it didn't. That's all that I had to deal with was leaving my house for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm LA born and bred, and like my family's lived here for generations as well, and we have never seen anything like this before. We've had fires before. We've had fires. Usually hits the valley. Usually hits like the San Bernardino area, which is like more like in between us and Palm Springs, but never this close. Never. Never. The winds were scary. I came home from work and was like picking up like broken pots in my backyard and trying to like figure out what literally flew away. My poor baby was scared to death, and she just wouldn't come in the house. It was scary for a bit. Probably the scariest moment was Wednesday morning when I did go into work. And as soon as I came over a hill, I could see a line of fire just going, because I go before dawn to work, and so I could see this giant red line of fire, and I was like, oh shoot, am I gonna have to evacuate from work? So yeah, I personally know quite a few people. My parents know a lot of people who have just lost everything. My best friend works for the county. She is just flooded at work right now. So yeah, we'll be sharing stuff in the coming days of how to aid people here in the area. I have a video up right now on my Instagram, in my reel, and then I have stories of I did a long one in my stories this morning because I did pay a visit up to where the National Guard has their border check this morning. So if you want to go and check that out, we'll be sharing stuff in the coming days.
I'm glad that we are all safe. Thank you, Araceli, for letting people know where they can help, because I know a lot of people are interested in that. But thankful and grateful to be where we are. And again, we send our love, our strength to those who have been hit by this the hardest. And a big thank you to firefighters from other countries who have come in to help.
My people.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Well, let's get into what we know and love and haven't talked about in quite some time, to shine a bright light on what could be some dark days. So, speaking of days, how did we feel about this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives?
It's all right.
It's not the deep sigh.
It's all right. I mean, there was a little bit of forward movement, but it was a lot. It was a conversation week. It was just a lot of conversations going on.
Yeah, this week was okay. I felt like we were coming down from the high of like the last 2 weeks where a bit of stuff happened. So it was like, the ebb and flow of it.
Yeah.
So Christmas was nostalgic. New Year's was the week that everybody hooked up. And this week was just kind of the aftermath.
Everyone did get horny on New Year's, didn't they? Man, I was like, damn, everyone's effing.
It's something about the holidays that brings out the jolly in you.
Last year, everyone was doing drugs. This year, everyone was doing each other.
Well, at least every year they're doing something. Well, everyone. First of all, before we move, I saw that Annette Thompson, she put in her retirement. So happy retirement to Annette Thompson. And thank you all for all of your chat. We've been paying attention to it while we've been talking. So we'll definitely get back into it. I think we have really started something with the word digmatize, because people continue to use it. Even James Lott Jr. has used it as well. So there's something to it. See? Hey, I mentioned how Stephanie is digmatized when I was chatting on Days for Dummies today.
There's a K in there, but good job.
Actually, that spelling is accepted as well. Just saying. All right, everyone. So let's break it on down for the first time in 2025, everybody. It is now time to start
Dishin
Dishin
Days.
Days.
I didn't even say it because by the time I did, I would have been late on it.
Better late than pregnant.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, let me tell you, I'm sure I know one person on that show that wishes they weren't pregnant. Speaking of hooking up, really? Okay, let's get this out of the way because we weren't able to address this because the reveal happened when we were on a break. And I'm pretty sure we text about this.
Oh, we did.
Okay. Before we talk about the reveal of Johnny and Joy, I would like to know, once again, from each of us, your quick definition of hooking up. Michael Mattis? Okay. Justin?
I think people use it interchangeably. It could be dating, it could be sex, it could be
How do you?
How do I use it?
Hooking
up. Oh, I don't use it. I'm of age.
But when someone says, like if I came to you and said, so I hooked up with someone yesterday, how would you interpret that as?
Like you went out with them and got close to them. Maybe not necessarily sex.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that there's a way in which we have used it. We as adults know it to be used.
But wait, hold on. Before we go into that.
Generation that uses it differently.
Araceli, same question. Hooking up means what to you?
To me, it means having sex.
Okay. For me, it's like it's the beginnings of sex to sex. So if you say you hooked up with someone, that means there was some clothes off, some clothes hit the floor, the towel dropped. Michael Mattis?
I want to make an addendum to what I said before.
Yes.
It may necessarily not be full on.
Yes.
Like if genitals are exposed, how about that? Then that's a hookup.
That's okay. Yeah, that's a good.
Yes.
Because sex, like going back to Bill Clinton, the whole like, did they have sex? And it was like, no, she just gave him a blowjob, and he didn't think that was having sex. So he technically didn't lie under oath when he said he didn't have. He didn't consider what they did sexual relations, but it could. But I would say it was hooking up, but because the dick was out.
I don't think it was. It was
okay. So,
but not.
So this whole time, we have been led to kind of think that Johnny and Joy engaged in sexual activity. When Johnny confessed to what him and Joy did, which was basically have a heavy makeout session where they got undressed and then stopped before anything happened. My reaction was, I literally said this out loud when he was done. I was like, girl, you mean this whole time we've been thinking that you enjoy and side note, prayers answered because I didn't want Johnny to have had sex with Joy.
Yeah.
So prayers answered, right? But at the same time, I'm like, you literally could have went to Chanel and said, I thought you were having sex with Alex because I caught you. I was out of my mind with jealousy. I got super drunk and I made out with this girl. Period. We have been through the ringer with this, and you gonna now come up and say, oh yeah, we just kissed a whole lot and got undressed, and now we didn't go all the way. We done been through you accusing Chanel and saying it out loud at a party and getting slapped. We have seen Joy go through the ringer of being told not to reveal what happened between her and Johnny. We have gone through EJ coming up and being like, get out of town, here's $1 billion to leave. You mean to tell me we went through all this for you to reveal that you didn't even have sexual relations?
However,
bye.
Okay, so literally bye.
I actually had to charge my computer, but that was right on time.
Yeah. So he didn't go through with it. However, there was enough clothes off. Like the intent was there to do it. He just stopped himself. So while we're giving him credit for stopping himself, he still let it go that far. So I feel like Chanel, there's Chanel has a right to be upset. Chanel has a right to feel betrayed. Even if she knows he didn't go through it, we need to allow for her to feel betrayed. He was literally in an intimate setting, having we'll call them intimate relations, not sexual relations, but intimate relations with another woman.
Yes.
So Chanel has a right to be mad. Should she forgive him? I think yes, she should think about it. Let her have her anger and then, forgive him if she feels she should, if she wants to.
I'm curious to also know, Justin and Araceli, what your reactions were. And then I want to pose a question about Chanel's reaction.
Okay. For me, I was like you, I was glad. I was part of me was relieved that they didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought what a weird storyline to give them. But it seems like a cop-out to me. I kind of feel like you have this couple that is really great together, but you wanted to give them some sort of strife, but you didn't want to commit to someone actually doing anything bad. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like, oh, what did we just do the last month? What was the storyline about then? Yeah. I kind of wish they had went with maybe one of them didn't remember what happened, and then that was the reveal. You know what I mean? It was all big, a big misunderstanding. Maybe when he talked to Joy, he's under the guise that they did something, and she's under the guise we just took our clothes off and almost had sex. And I would have felt more better about the storyline, but it doesn't. The rest of the parts of the storyline make absolutely no sense with this reveal. I don't know. It was a letdown. I'm glad he didn't do it. But it was also what was that all for? Yeah. Well,
you just
what was the point of all that? Yeah.
Well, before I answer that, because I do have an answer to that, I will say that my initial reaction to that was very visceral and out loud, like Tony was, which was, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he didn't do it. I knew he didn't go all the way. Why? Because contrary to all logic that says that the child of Sammy Brady and EJ DiMera should be a holy terror, Johnny's just too good. So I had a gut feeling that he didn't go all the way with Joy. That being said, Chanel has a right to her anger. Absolutely, for however long she wants to be angry with him. In terms of the purpose of the storyline, I think it was to kind of show that Johnny is still at his core a really good guy, and that even though in the moment he fully believed that his wife was cheating on him, he couldn't demean their marriage and demean himself when it got right down to it. He couldn't cross that threshold. He got close, but he couldn't quite get there.
I'm sure he got there. I really just want to know what the point is. Because I also feel like this. While I feel like Chanel's reaction is warranted to a certain degree, though. Like I feel,
there's a lot of chatter in the chat room about her anger towards Johnny is warranted, but not towards Joy, and I tend to agree with that.
Yes, and I also just feel like her wanting to end the marriage over this. I'm like, that's much, because no one is squeaky clean in a situation, and cheating is cheating. However, I think this is definitely like a conversation, and Johnny really having to show Chanel that he was stupid and he made a dumb mistake, and he has to really do everything in his power to regain her trust, because Chanel forgets you weren't the best of people either, girl. Did we forget how we married Xander?
She needs time.
Did we forget the push and pull between Johnny and Allie? Did we forget the threesome that we had with like, you got a little bit of history too?
How the affair with Sloane's dad too. I mean,
oh, that was bad. Yeah.
So
she needs time. She needs time. Unfortunately, like the our marriage is done reaction is kind of really just the first instinct of someone who's been betrayed like that, but it ain't over until somebody actually files divorce papers. We're still a long way from that.
I thought you were going to say it's not over until a fat lady sings. So I was waiting for that.
I'm actually of the opposite opinion of Joy. To me, it makes me think, why were you keeping it from her then if it was just this? Like, I kind of understand it more if you had slept with him and the idea was you didn't know, let's keep it a secret. But to me, it's less of an issue to just sit everyone down and be like, girl, let me tell you this. Like, I know you're not going to be happy about it, but it's, I didn't sleep with your husband.
But remember, Johnny was the one that and her agreed to not tell Chanel. So they made that agreement, and I think Joy went with it because it's like, it's not my marriage. It's not my person. I don't want to be the one that reveals this, especially if he doesn't want it to be revealed. Like, I don't want to be the person that does it. So even though people are like, well, why didn't Joy tell Chanel? Well, because her and Johnny had an agreement, a person's agreement, that they wouldn't, reveal to Chanel. It was really up to Johnny to reveal it to Chanel, not Joy.
Yes, until you're friends with the person. I agree.
She ain't asked for that friendship.
They're fair weather friends.
She ain't asked for that friendship.
It's different.
No. Everyone has responsibility for their own actions. Yes, Johnny's the married person. And any other time I would say, sure, she doesn't know Chanel from a hole in the wall. Once you're now co-stars and and let's be clear, like, she liked Chanel as a person, which is why she allowed herself to get into that mix. She could have easily said, Chanel, I don't want to be your friend. Stay out my face. Of course, she wasn't going to say that. She liked Chanel. She also allowed herself for Chanel to start a friendship in the first place. Like, at that point, you also have responsibility for your own choices in life. You can't put everything on Johnny. Like, you have no say in anything. You have no control over anything. When EJ was going to run you out of town, you had a backbone to stand up to him and stand up for yourself. You can have a backbone to say, sorry, Chanel, this is why I kept it a secret. My bad is not that I messed with your husband because I didn't even know you then. My bad is not telling you when you and I were starting a friendship. That's what her bad is. Not that she got involved with him.
That's pretty much what she said this week, though.
Yeah.
I'm saying she's not removed from it. Like, these are people, across town she doesn't know. At the point where you and Chanel have have a friendship or a starting of friendship, you also have a responsibility at that point. You can't just put it off to, I don't know this woman. You actually do know the woman now, and you're friends with her.
I agree with Justin, actually, now that he's explained it. The majority of the responsibility still lied with Johnny, but Joy could have or should have said it. If there was a responsibility on her part too. The majority of the responsibility was on Johnny, but
totally.
But then EJ, why is EJ paying this broad
makes
to go
no
away
sense.
because they made out in their underwear?
Because it is EJ. Well, okay. Hold on though. I am not necessarily sure that EJ knows the details.
Oh, that could be. Okay.
He's
gonna be like us. He's like, you told us you were hooked up. Hooked up is something.
I'm almost positive that was not the conclusion that EJ came to.
No, I think EJ came to the conclusion that we all did, and he got tired of Johnny, like every time Joy was in the room being like, and he was just like, I'm gonna pay her off so that Johnny can stop worrying. But back to the Chanel and Joy of it all. Now remember, Joy was like, my name is Ben and I don't want to be a part of this. Like, I want to be on TV, sure, but I don't want to come to the house and watch movies. I don't want to no Chanel. And like everyone keeps saying, Chanel is just so hard to say no to.
No, you say no. And you don't move your feet, you don't stand up, and you don't move your feet to the DeMira mansion. You just don't do it.
But I also think she did it to not draw suspicion of like, why is she so like not because then it could carry on a whole new thing. She hanging out with Alex, she hanging out with other people of the cast of Body and Soul, but she don't want to hang out with Chanel. Oh, now what's wrong with you?
It would have drawn more suspicion.
Yeah, so I think after a while she was just like, because she just won't leave me alone. Like as soon as Chanel heard no, Chanel should have said, "All right, girl, well maybe another time," and then just stop. But like, you know what? I ain't inviting that hoe nowhere else. She keeps saying no.
Say no.
She keeps saying no. I'm not gonna waste my breath no more. But it's such an interesting. First of all, he might as well just had said like they had did some middle school hunching and like underneath the bleachers after lunch.
Right. And was anyone surprised that she sort of let Alex off the hook? I'm like, of all people to blame, this person was your actual friend. Like, I thought she was gonna like slap Alex, and then she sort of gave him a pass.
I think of the responsibility levels: Johnny, Joy, and then Alex is down here. Alex was collateral damage. No. He didn't ask to be involved. Like, he didn't ask to be involved with it. Joy volunteered.
Wait, you guys. Joy's more responsible, someone who doesn't know Chanel, than Alex, who was her actual friend.
Once she found out.
Yes. Because Alex was no participant in this. Alex, and again, there's levels of friendship. I'm sorry. And when if it's your tightest girlfriend, that's one thing. If it's your friend who you were like bickering with like 2 seconds ago, who you barely just got back on good terms, oh yeah, I see where he was on this. It's different with it's not her BFF.
Before Joy in terms of response. I think everyone has a responsibility for their own choices. If I'm going to rank people's responsibility, I would put Johnny as the husband. I would then put Alex as the friend, someone who I have a relationship with, a friendship with. Then I would put Joy, someone who I don't know from a hole in the wall up until 3 weeks ago. That's the level of blame I'm putting. I was just really surprised she didn't have something to say about Alex.
I mean, I'm picking up what you're putting down, Justin. I think ranking where Joy fits is hard because she was the participant, who later became the friend. But I mean, literally, Alex is literally Ben, and he didn't want to be in it.
Yeah.
No, I understand getting roped into it, but you also have a responsibility to just say no. Like, everyone's acting like Johnny's not, he's not mind controlling these people they're also going along with, they're making bad decisions. They're making it under the guise of we don't want to hurt Chanel, but these are also bad decisions that they're making, and they should take responsibility for their part in it.
I mean, there's also
putting it all on Johnny because he's the husband is not. There's blatant to go around for everyone.
Yeah, but there is such a thing as shooting the messenger.
That too, because you could just be relying on the information, but all of a sudden they mad at you for.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I think all roads lead back to Johnny. I think everyone was like, this is your wife. This is your relationship. If this is how you want to handle this situation, then against my better judgment, I will go along with you.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes someone like a Shanae to look at Johnny and being like, little bitch, you better tell her or I will.
Mm-hmm. Now that being said,
time starts now.
Now that being said, do we think that Chanel's going to forgive Johnny?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You think she will?
Yeah.
Because right now
she
don't seem like she. When she said,
to me, she's completely overreacting. I understand being hurt, but like you're walking away from your job.
I would say she's overreacting. I feel like this is just she's not giving herself a moment to. Okay, so maybe she is overreacting. I don't know. But,
a little bit. She's a little bit overreacting.
She's a little bit overreacting, but it's justifiable.
Yeah.
Overreacting. Just it's the initial shock of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having this visceral reaction. Like she'll take a moment eventually and think about it. And Chanel is nothing if not I feel like one of the more reasonable characters for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So this is the initial reaction. It's still fresh. Once the wound starts to heal a little bit, I feel like this is a forgivable offense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all,
and I think she'll eventually come around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. When Johnny called Chanel and she answered and he said, "Oh, I didn't think you were going to answer." Oh yeah. What did she say? It's like I wouldn't have, but then oh no, I did. Only to realize I have nothing to say to you. Click.
Yeah, he's gonna need to grovel. He's gonna need to grovel for some time to come.
For sure.
But eventually I think it'll work. And I think the fact that he didn't go all the way with Joy is to his credit.
Yeah.
No.
Then there's the whole show part of it, which I was just like, I'm more interested in that part of it than them going, well, I'm going to leave. No, I'm going to leave. No, I'll leave. I'm like, who cares? Flush the show down the toilet. I don't care. Just like,
I mean, at this point, Body and Soul didn't even get off the ground great before the whole storyline for the season was revealed. Everybody's doing everybody. Now everyone can't stand everybody and wants to quit.
Now your star is quitting. Like, no.
Welcome to showbiz.
The minute Johnny said, no, I'll quit, Chanel should have said, okay, you quit then. You leave.
Yeah.
You did something wrong. You're in the wrong. You leave. I'm staying and keeping my acting job as the star of the show.
Agreed. If one of them has to leave the show, like they could all be adults and just try to work with each other and then be divas about it and try to, work to separate what's going on. Not easy thing. I'm not saying that would be an easy thing to do, but if one of them had to leave, it should be Johnny.
Yeah.
One of them had to lose their job or quit their job, it would be Johnny. Don't make Joy or Chanel lose their job.
Yeah.
Of course, Chanel was like, when she was like, I'll just go back to my first love. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, the bakery, you dumb fuck.
I know. Why did you think it was Allie? I was like,
I know.
Allie.
I'm like, what the? That's stupid.
Unfortunately, I think that's the part that's always there's always gonna be a little bit of an insecurity there.
Oh, girl, get over it.
Yeah, but Chanel, even if she was to leave the show, she's got the bakery. She'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joy shouldn't be the one to suffer, though. Absolutely not. So yeah, Johnny he can quit.
What a hot mess this whole
What a hot-
storyline is. Oh, a hot mess. And it all started with, we didn't really do anything but heavily make out and get undressed.
You know whose fault this all is? Seth Burns.
Oh.
Agreed.
Keep your mouth shut.
You know what?
Focus on set. Focus
Agreed.
on your bad acting.
I'm also going to blame Stephanie because she shouldn't have been under Alex like
Oh, no.
this.
For her bad sex, is that what you're saying? For not being
Your bad sex position.
Like, girl, now listen.
No, if Alex is to blame, it's for that. Like,
What were you doing to where you were covering her entire self? Like,
We went through the possibilities of what was.
He has big shoulders and she's small.
He's got the big shoulders.
but still, them shoulders ain't that big to where you covering somebody like that.
Oh God!
I still think she was doing work below the covers, and that's why we couldn't see her. You know what I mean?
In any case,
You still could have, because then you would have saw her legs
here we go.
like dangling at the end of they were on a hospital gurney. Ain't that much room.
No, not
Imagine if she had
that
shoes on. As a contrast to our other famous scene we talked about.
Can I cut this off by just reminding everyone of what Michael said? Is that we don't need to be analyzing straight people having sex.
Oh, did I say that?
You said that.
Oh, okay. I
Not you giving yourself kudos, forgetting that you said it, and then giving yourself kudos about
it. That you don't need to be analyzing.
Anyway.
But you know who did have sex?
Alex and Joy.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times.
I like it.
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it either.
I'm not mad about it either, but Joy, you ain't been here but for 2 seconds. You already linked to 2 different people. Girl, slow down. Y'all keep telling Stephanie to slow down. Tell Joy to pump the brakes.
Instead of pumping.
Instead of pumping everybody else.
Oh, and real briefly, this happened last week, but I do want to mention it very quickly because it happened real quick.
It better be something good.
I forgot. It wasn't until Philip and Joy were in the room together, and then I put 2 and 2 together, like, oh yeah, they do know each other.
Philip and Joy know each other?
Because
from
Joy
Chloe,
is Chloe's sister.
Through Chloe.
And Chloe and his ass were together for a while. Philip and Chloe were.
Because it's like she's brand new, so we're seeing her with all of the new characters, forgetting the family connection. It's like, oh yeah,
Philip's the one person she would know from Salem.
Would know him.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, like, they're in a room. This is their first scene together, and I'm like, oh my god, she's so hostile, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's Joy is with Chloe. They have a sibling rivalry, but then they have the mutual enemy kind of thing. Even when you're beefing with your sibling, if y'all have a mutual enemy, they're your enemy.
I couldn't stop laughing when she just drunkenly told him, what do you care? You dumped her ass. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, moving on to some more mess. Brady back. Father and grandfather of the year.
God. Oh.
Okay.
That escalated so fast. Oh. It's bad. It's real bad.
I need Miss Choi to go back to wherever she was. Because, first of all, you're not about to force marriage on my child.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Number 2, we're still trying to figure out how she's even pregnant. Number 3, I will say this. Something seems very shady about this whole situation.
Yep.
And it clicked to me when first of all, Sophia, you and Holly really ain't that cool for you to go over there and try to have a kiki with her. Like y'all ain't like that. And I feel like she purposely went over there to act like she was like having a conversation update with her, but she was really there to reveal that she didn't have the abortion and that she's still pregnant. Then
it was like underhanded, like
right.
Yeah.
Same. But then the way Mrs. Choi is acting, I know that Sophia has like said like how super conservative she is and everything like that. Da, 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 da. But there's something about this that makes me feel like there's some sort of something going on between, and now the mama is involved.
Oh, like she's in on the scheme? Like
yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm with Tony. I kind of started to think that too. I'm like, okay, so I just to snowball off Tony, I believe that Sophia is probably really pregnant. Do I believe Tate's the father? No. Do I believe that the mom actually, I believe the mom is trying to get them married first and passing this baby off as Tate's for some reason. Like if they're after something of Brady or Brady's families.
Wow, you guys are making this really complicated.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing that made me think like, was when she went over to meet up with Brady and Tate were there and they all sat on the couch. And when she sat on the couch, she looked around and she was like, nice home. And I was like,
gold digger.
I was like, what you worried about their house for? You need to be worrying about this child who pregnant.
I feel like you guys are really misinterpreting that. That's not the vibe that I got. The vibe that I got was she is very prim, very like that woman, Mrs. Choi. She's proper. She is extremely conservative. She's extremely polite to a T. One of those people. It's like
those are the people you need to watch out for.
Yes,
those ultra conservative, nice people. They're all shady. Forgive me. They're not all shady. A lot of them are shady.
No, I totally get shady vibes from her, but I don't think gold digger. I think that's she doesn't dress like gold digger. She dresses like she's got money, she's got expectations, she's wanting her daughter to be a doctor.
Everybody can dress like they got money. Everybody can look like they own a Louis Vuitton.
I am sure that there is a high-end thrift store in Salem where it's her knockoffs or whatever. So she appears a certain way. That doesn't mean she is a certain way.
I feel like you guys are making this really too complicated.
No, I think all in all, there is something to this. There's something more to this story. But it was, and I'm the one that just sits there and sometimes I miss stuff and everything like that. But it was the way she sat down and she said that, because she has been, like you said, she's very right. Mm-hmm. Like for her to go over there, it should have been about business. It's like, what are we doing? How are we doing it? What's the next step? Right. The fact that she sat there, she looked around and she was like, nice home. I was like, she's looking around like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. This baby is about to be good. My daughter's about to be good. We about to be good. Because watch, I bet you in a few weeks, it's going to cut to her house and she's going to be holding like a foreclosed letter or something in her hand. And I'm going to be like, I told you. See, she can look like she got money, but she ain't got no money. That ain't no Dolce and Gabbana dress. That is a Gabi chic dress that came off the clearance rack.
At Saxton's.
Saxton's. Yeah. Did Constantine give it to her?
Okay.
The funniest part about, isn't that John and Marlena's house? It's not even Brady's house.
Right.
She said, Brady didn't even correct her.
Brady he has money too. I mean, Brady has
money
Brady's
too, but it's not his house.
I mean, he lives with them more because it's convenient.
You know what? You guys are getting me thinking, because also, I mean, I don't know if this is a rewrite, but I don't know if you guys remember even if it registered with people, but they're sort of playing with Sophia's family life a little bit, because before the mom showed up, the story was that they were actually kind of poor, it seemed like, because when she was working with Ava, she's made comments before about oh, I gotta work to help support my family, and I gotta go pick up my little brothers. And so unless there's a rewrite here and they're writing them as, I guess, middle
Posh.
class, I'll say, or posh, there may be something to that. I didn't get that vibe, but I'm not saying I'm with you guys on that, but I'm saying I'm leaving it open for the possibility there could be something there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't get that vibe either. I could be wrong, but if there's any scheming to be going on, I think I don't think it's coming from Amy Choi. I think it's coming from her daughter.
I actually would prefer it come from the mom. Just I feel like the Sophia faking a who's the daddy is sort of predictable, and like I was like, okay, how many times have we been there? So I think maybe the more interesting part would be if the mom was scheming to like use the pregnancy to get like the black fortune or something. I think that would be more interesting to me, but who knows? I will say I don't like the character, but I like that we have a character like Mrs. Choi in the mix. I do think that she's going to stir some things up, which is nice. And I think the actress is pretty good.
And y'all keep forgetting when both Sophia and Aaron were going through stuff, they went and hung out.
Yeah.
And Sophia
did they hook up?
And Sophia, we all know, has been hot in the ass since she trotted her ass onto a ferry all the way over to Smith Island to catch Tate in Miss morning workout. And ever since then, she's been like,
but her mother didn't know that.
Or did she?
No, but
that woman, that's a 16-year-old girl's nightmare.
What
is that woman right there?
Well, it sounds like she need to be more responsible than loosey goosey like she has been.
I'm hoping that's not where it goes. I also did not. Again, we'll talk about this in a different storyline. I also did not like the Aaron is now going to be conveniently gone from Salem for a few months. I was like, that didn't bode well for this theory that maybe he's the dad. I was like, oh Jesus, here we go again. So I'm hoping that Michael and Tony actually like your idea more that maybe the mom is scheming than Sophia. I would prefer that. If Sophia's scheming, I don't know. It's been there, done that. Lather, rinse, repeat. Like, I don't know.
I mean, in any case, I struggle to find anyone who's having a worse week than Brady, a worse start to the new year. Not one, but both of his children are a hot mess.
What?
Brady and his kids.
Yeah.
And
hot mess.
Hot mess express.
The baby mama that's a hot mess.
Mamas. Just because one is convenient, one is stowed away in jail doesn't mean she'll be out soon. 2025. She did not even get a year sentence.
The dog agrees.
Right.
Yeah. Brady's gonna have a hell of a.
Okay, so yes, after having to deal with the 700 Club at John and Marlena's, he had to go over and deal with Kristen and these texts that were coming to Ava, which we found out in the interim were coming from Lil Kristen. I'll call her Lil Kristen, like Lil Debbie, Lil Kristen.
Listen, but she had a point though. Rachel looked at her, first of all, what cackled me was after she chased Ava out, she went and started playing chess. And I said, now this is a true Demara.
Yeah.
Because what I was waiting for her to put the piece onto something and go, checkmate. That's what I was waiting for.
I would have sold it. That would have just been
would have been the apple of her nono's eye.
Or like looked at Stefano's portrait and said it, or
She was like, she was like, you, Uncle EJ, no. Like basically, I'm doing what y'all do.
Yeah, yep.
So what's the problem? But I will hand it to
It's-
Kristen though. I think for the first time one of the few times we actually saw Kristen be a mom and be like, no, like you can't do this. Like this is not right.
I liked that Kristen, punished her and was like, go to your room. But there's some hollowness to it because we know Kristen is not going to walk that walk.
No.
We have no faith that Kristen is going to walk that walk. So what business does she have reprimanding her child for doing something that she herself I wouldn't put it past Kristen to do that. So like it just seems performative. Like, but of course I wouldn't agree if she was like, yeah, send all the threatening texts you want. That's how we roll in our family. Cut a bitch for all I care. You know what I mean? Like, so I will say Kristen did the right thing. However, she needs to, it was just hollow.
Change that Wi-Fi passcode. Change that passcode. Turn it around.
Have Hareld do it. Hareld is like he can't answer the door or can't lock the door. There's a very big problem with unlocked doors in Salem. Someone was
apparently,
or no, I'm sorry. When Sophia came into the house, Henderson let her in and told her where Holly was. Right?
But everybody else has just been
a killer. Yeah.
Everybody else just been walking in.
Yeah.
Ava walked into the DeMera mansion. Hattie walked in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Everybody just walking in. Now, listen, if you live in Salem, the amount of security codes I would have on a door.
Philip
shouldn't be able to get past the gate. Yeah.
I feel very sorry for Brady. He's about to be a grandfather, and his daughter's his daughter's a few years away from being on a cheerleader episode of Dateline.
Not the cheerleader episode of Dateline. Oh boy. All right. Well, that's enough about Brady and his mess.
That he and Kristen kind of made an agreement to do better by Rachel. So we'll see.
As they should. They should have did that a long time ago.
I always have to, when these two like start to agree and I'm like, oh, you're going to be decent parents. I'm like, all right, let's see how this one goes, because there's a pattern developing now where it does not, they don't walk I keep saying it, they don't walk the walk.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right. And now the big reveal. Carrie is Lady W. Bum bum bum.
That's why he has so much hair, because it's full of secrets. It's full of secrets.
Okay, this one was a surprise for me. I had it pegged as a different character, so when it was like fixing up to be him, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Who did you think it was?
I thought it was Gwen the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I started to think it was Gwen too.
Yeah.
But then when it was revealed that it was him, I was like, all right, that's surprise. Like, okay, kind of not expecting it, but also not the biggest surprise, because you watch the show long enough, you realize this character is probably not just here. There's on the surface why he's here, and then there's the deeper reason. Yeah.
But I think too, we were never aware of if he was when he was ever going to be on, or if he was done. So I think that also too, I think if we knew that he was going to be on for a little while, maybe it would have been a possibility, but I didn't even suspect him during this whole thing. I probably didn't think he was going to be back on the show until he shows up. So
yeah.
Before I accept it, I need to know, which is like everything else, I want to know why, like how he's getting the information. And
well, why and how are two different things,
right? And I want to know both before I accept this as reality.
I feel like the why is going to be something super petty.
Because I mean, it probably could just be because Leah rejected him before.
Yeah, it's going to be something super petty.
A little revenge by.
Yeah, the how had me and every other Guiding Light fan going like, huh?
Why Guiding Light?
Because
know.
they name checked Springfield, which was the town that Guiding Light was centered in.
It's also the town that The Simpsons is centered in.
Wait, when? What do you mean? Springfield's the name, the body where Body and Soul takes place.
No,
It's Pineview.
No, Pineview is where Body and Soul takes place. Springfield was where Guiding Light took place.
Well, how does
And they
Springfield
name checked the town, and they name checked Spalding, which was the name of a prominent family in Guiding Light. So we were like, huh?
Did Ron write for Guiding Light at one point?
I think so.
If he did, it was a long time ago. Because that took me back.
I'm glad it took you back because we
haven't
been able to go anywhere.
What you're
I think it hit me because it was such a throwback. Usually when we had throwbacks, and you're like, that little cutie thing of like this character that was on All My Children, this character that was on One Life to Live, and like Cassie DePaiva, when she came to the show and stuff like that. And, oh, look at these two know each other, blah blah blah. But that one was just such a like a weird curveball that it took me kind of a surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. So now I'm like, but the fact that they name checked, I was like, wait a minute. Is this like now I'm actually wondering, okay, was this just like a throwaway curveball to get us all excited, also Guiding Light fans excited? Or are you actually going to make this guy like Spalding? Because that'd be weird.
No, they said his last name.
I don't even know what the references you're referring to. I don't know when any of that.
So no, I'm asking because they made it a point not to just say the name of the town, but also the name of a prominent family that was in Guiding Light. So now I'm wondering, was that just a throwaway casual curveball thing that they threw out there for soap fans, or are they actually going to make this guy like some kind of relative from a different soap?
Now,
that was very specific.
Let me take you back just a few moments ago. When
I'm so confused. Okay.
No, I follow what she's saying. I just think it could be that they're pulling shit from old soaps. Like I just didn't get it because I didn't watch Guiding Light.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's a throwaway, I'm fine. But the fact that they specifically name checked a family, I was like, oh wow, that's specific.
Now you have went on this journey. However, when I said that Mrs. Choi sat down and looked around and said, "This is a nice house," you could not understand how I could ever come up with such a thing. And we have listened to you for 10 minutes talk about the spell check of Springfield and Spalding from a whole different soap.
That a distinction of tone when you say something is very different from specifically naming something, right?
I will say that
your conversation was about a tone.
No, my conversation was about a statement.
A statement which could be interpreted different ways based on the tone. My conversation was
don't try to spin this so that yours makes sense.
Actual names.
Don't try to spin
actual very specific names.
Let me go to the chat. Chat, are y'all do y'all get it?
I don't even know. Wait, when were these references again? I understand the idea of using another soap or name. I just don't understand when the references came in.
They came in. When did they come in?
Yeah,
So no, that happened when Stephanie was all in a tizzy because Abe was up her butt about getting everything under control with these spoilers. So she went to Chad to ask him to reveal who the new Lady Whistleblower is. He said he didn't know. He said, and she kind of had to talk him into looking into the finances and where the checks were going to. And when they did a deep dive, they found that the checks were going to someone named Spalding from Springfield.
I thought it was Rochester.
That's what I thought.
That's why I'm confused about where it was Rochester, New York.
Near Rochester.
Okay.
Well, he ain't no Spalding because they said his last name and it wasn't Spalding. I think it started with an M.
People have different last names from their host from like the main family, from like the
really,
grandfathers.
You really want to make this guy like connection, don't you?
I know.
I didn't have to. Somebody else did.
Okay. Let's rewind it. Girl, the guiding light connection. Got it.
Spalding Lewis Bank. That's what it was.
Spalding Lewis Bank.
Thank you, Sandra.
Oh,
Thank you, Sandra. So that it was actually not one, but two main families, Spalding and Lewis.
Got it. Oh, now. So genius.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for clearing that up for me. But yes, it is a guiding light reference.
Debbie Bryant is over it. She's like, let's talk about Bobberette.
Same here, Debbie. I'm so confused.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
New Year, same Araceli.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to becoming a member, George.
This conversation led to a new member. Thank you, George.
You want your money back, George? Lord.
No take backs.
No refund. We have no refund policy.
We can make an exception on this one. Lord.
Let me tell you how shady our fans are. They started naming other things that they'd rather talk about. Dylan Matthews said, "Can we talk about the elephant instead?"
Oh God!
Y'all shady. All right, Araceli, we are with you on the guiding light train.
Kinda, sorta.
You know, there are some times in life where you get excited about things and references, and we are not going to take this away from Araceli. They looked at the account. It's from
Spalding Lewis Bank.
It's from Spalding Lewis Bank, two prominent families in Guiding Light, and they spell check Springfield.
Lack of shoes.
Still will never understand. Anyway, so Carrie is Lady Whistelblower.
May or may not be a Spalding.
Yes, may or may not be a Spalding.
Do you? Okay.
Because there's two other things about this storyline.
Do we like Carrie and Javi together, or do we like Javi and Leo together? Or do we just like Javi shirtless in a towel?
See.
Yeah. I feel like they haven't really given us Carrie in, besides that one scene we got where they were kind of like going back and forth about the divas kind of thing, which I kind of liked.
Yeah.
Other than that, we haven't really. I mean, honestly, they now have a more significant relationship than the one night stand that Leo and Javi had. So, I mean,
yeah,
I think Javi still has feelings for Leo.
Oh yeah,
I think he thinks he messed up.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just being stubborn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's young, and young guys are like that.
Yeah, but I do think that Leo has a legitimate point about the new Lady W going after his career, and I do think he's finally, you know, making, when he's not jabbering on, he is actually making a valid point that, you know, this is his career, this is something that he's worked hard for, and you know, he has legitimate fears of being fired.
I mean, did Leo show that grace to anyone else? And when he was Lady Whistle, I mean, part of me is like, oh, okay. I mean,
No, but I think in terms of like how he relates to Javi and how he and Javi can form a friendship and how he can show Javi that he's not just, well, Leo. That there's some depth there.
There's some what?
There's some depth there. There's something beyond the jabbering.
You know what? It's that Spalding Lewis depth that's there for sure.
I was talking about Leo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other part of this was that I guess Hattie's back on the show.
Hattie went over to Bonnie to patch things up because she need a job.
Mm-hmm.
She said, give me my soap opera back, please. But if I were Hattie, I would be like, child, I want to be a part of that mess.
Poison cupcakes and shit. Nope.
I did like this because, yeah, I do like Bonnie and Hattie together.
Yeah, I like them making up and being friends again.
Me too. I mean, I feel like they shouldn't have let that show come in between. They shouldn't have been such divas.
And the best divas are the ones that play off of each other. You can't have just one diva on the show.
No.
Well,
Wait,
I mean, you can have like a grand dame kind of a diva, but the show really works best when you have multiple divas.
oh, I can work with just one. Just call me
I was
Spalding.
gonna say that. Oh, God.
What else? Is that it?
That was it.
God, I hope.
Post Stephanie. If I was Stephanie, I'd be like, you know what? Y'all find another publicist. I'm over this. Y'all doing too much. Too much. Well, that were our top storylines of days, and now we're heading into our tidbits. But before we do, just a quick reminder, make sure you find us on social media. We're Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell notification, so that way you'll never miss when we've uploaded a brand new video. And if you are a member of our exclusive members only page, we have uploaded one new video today, which is our top 5 with Al Calderon, where he lists his top 5 duets that he'd like to, artists that he'd like to duet with. That's what it is. So if you want to find out more about that, make sure you hit the join button along with some other wonderful members only stuff that happens. Also, make sure you find us on your favorite podcast station. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And make sure you show some love to my oldest friend, James Lott Jr., who still knows how to operate Wi-Fi and a computer to create some wonderful original content over at JLJ Media on YouTube. Hey, tell him that his very young friend, Tony, sent you. And now on to Spalding Lewis news of tidbits. Happy New Year, EJ! What a way to ring in the new year.
You fired.
Did you hear about your job?
Gone.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, they made valid points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Actually,
at the end of the day, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So,
it was so valid. Those points were so valid. I'm like, is this still a soap?
but aside from Belle becoming the new DA, and kudos to Belle for how she's handling it, because she could have been like EJ, but she's really concerned, like, listen, this is not necessarily how I wanted you to find out, and I just want you to, like, I want this to be smooth. Because I guess they do have a nice relationship, even though every chance someone gets, they like to remind Belle that EJ and Belle used to come up and see them sometimes.
Even Marlena.
I know.
Mom.
You don't think they know that they were there?
Right. Well, side note, when Marlena walked in from her workout, my first thought was, what year is this? Because that seems so like, I don't know. It just felt like what they used to do back in the day, where like, oh, let me just come back from a workout. I'm like, Marlena ain't got no time to go work out.
I think whenever we don't see Marlena in a pantsuit, it throws us off. Like it it discombobulates us for a second.
What do we think about the Rafe and Arnold of it all?
Same.
Yeah. I was like, this is the plot you're bringing back from
Okay.
15 years ago?
Okay.
And I don't remember it being that popular then, but
no, it was not popular then. We didn't like it then. I think the general consensus is we don't like it now. I heard a lot of people saying that they kind of found Arnold funny, and I agree. He's kind of his demeanor is different from Rafe's. It's nice to see Galen get some comedy time in there. That's cute. But
that's cute.
But the sticking point for me with why I really never ever wanted this storyline to be revisited was the fact that he assaulted Sammy.
Yeah.
That was the sticking point, so when they brought him back, all I could think was, don't you dare do to Jada what you did to Sammy.
There's no way. Like if they tried to do that again, they can't. They cannot.
No.
Well, they sort of addressed it in the show. They sort of addressed it by having EJ sort of, I guess, grow a conscience all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like he did it, like he hasn't done worse himself.
Because Arnold, they were having the conversation about it and about how Sammy wasn't able to give consent, and don't you dare kiss Jada and all that, and the Arnold character was like, well, you didn't have a problem before, and EJ's comment was like, well, I've evolved, my outlook has changed. What do you say? My opinions have changed. My
opinions have changed. The world has changed, which he's not wrong. Didn't make it right then.
I mean, clearly EJ is a completely different person.
Well, I mean, I think they're the intent of at least that interaction was to address something to the audience that was always just kind of sitting there and never addressed, which we also think is going to lead to something we saw in the promo being addressed. That's always just kind of laid there.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they're doing this.
Yeah, I think this.
To that.
Yeah. So it seems to me, again, we sometimes we say, like, why bring this up? Nobody asked for this. Well, there would only be one reason for this particular story to rear its ugly head again.
I say the only positive. It's nice to see Galen sort of have fun, I guess. He seems like he's having fun as Arnold, and it's a different side, of course, and the interactions with EJ are somewhat comical, but it's just a weird storyline to bring back it's odd to sort of have this spring up out of sort of nowhere. He's just like, I mean, originally we thought they killed him off and that this is sort of a retcon of he was actually alive and they spirited him away to an island somewhere.
It's interesting because, like, everyone's like, oh, it's good to see Galen having fun. Like, if you know Galen or have seen Galen off camera,
he's more Arnold than
more Arnold.
Really?
Than
Yeah.
You go back and check some of our interviews. There was one interview he was just kind of lingering in the back. I'm like,
oh, when he walked him back in the open mirror.
Like that's Galen.
Like, Galen, get out of here.
I love. He's so funny though. He's
Yeah.
just as like he's just as cool, just like funny, like good time guy.
Yeah.
Yay, Galen.
Yeah.
So good for him, but we got to wrap the storyline up.
Yeah, I mean, and like Rafe said, you can't keep him down in that basement forever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And why do they always do? Let me ask you this: if somebody says you down in the Demera tunnel, can't nobody hear you scream. Why does everybody start screaming?
At least you got to try, right? I mean,
Yeah, you got to try.
Instinct, survival instinct. You got to,
because the person telling you that could be, I mean, I guess it should be known to this point that they're not lying when they say it's soundproof and no one can hear you. But at the same time, when you're in that predicament, you're probably going to try anyway.
Yeah. I don't know if I would trust it either,
The way I would have, like, if I was ever trapped in the Demera tunnel, at some point, I think I would have installed my own safety device down there in case I ever got brought back. Because they keep bringing everybody to, like, I'm just surprised nobody has, like, put an extra phone down there or, like, a button. I was also thinking this, too. I was like, for being in the fields that they're in, I'm surprised that Jada doesn't have, like, Rafe's location on his phone.
Oh, that's true.
And we can't say there wasn't reception because the phone rang when she called him.
It did, and it rang for a long time, and he was able to pick up. And it and I feel like the second when she was like, but it sounded muffled. Like I would have been like, where are the tunnels?
Well, they are playing her suspicious, at least, which is nice. I like that.
Yeah.
And we know that, and I was mercifully happy to know that we do have a clock. We actually have a definitive clock on how long can we keep Rafe in the tunnels, because they had decided to set the wedding towards the end of the month. So okay, Oak's like, okay, all right, we're not going to drag this out. We got a couple weeks, and that's it.
Right.
Are they really going to try to do the wedding with fake Rafe?
Oh, I hope not.
I'm assuming.
We'll see.
Is it going to be what they did with Kristen and Susan, where it wasn't really Kristen, and Kristen was down in the secret room watching it all?
Well, they'll never be able to top that reveal.
That was and that was also months and months, over a year of storyline finally coming to a head. But yeah,
bonkers.
All right. Well, that was that, right?
Yeah.
Before we move on, I wanted to mention I wanted to try Hobby's pancakes.
I'm sure you did.
Yes.
They did look good though.
With or without syrup.
Huh?
I said with or without syrup.
Let's move on to the next. We got Cat Green. How did we feel about her reveal about her mother to Marlena?
I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, it tracks.
Yeah, I mean they had to at some point make it make sense, because we were all like, now if she's been raising a whole nother family, like where's she been?
Yeah,
and it makes sense because Constantine a little off. So
yeah.
No kidding.
It was nice we finally got closer to that part of it.
Yeah.
It was kind of an anticlimactic reveal, but given the circumstances, but it was nice to have that explanation and to wrap it up and to finally have confirmation of what we knew probably all along, that John didn't kill the woman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this was
He was actually
supposed.
a hero. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that this was supposed to be a big reveal, but this is supposed to happen very differently.
Yeah, probably.
You know?
Although I will say, I do hope that we get a scene of Maggie finding that out, because I feel like there was an element of Victor that always was a little off there. And I would like to see Maggie sort of find that out, that he sent John there to rescue this woman and to save her family, not to kill her, and that wasn't something that Victor did.
Because Maggie was definitely some collateral damage and mix there.
Yeah. So I hope we get a scene or two of them coming together.
You know who I want to come together?
Chad and Kat. I think we all want to see them come together.
They're just the chemistry is so natural. You can't make that stuff up.
I like how Marlena gave her grace. And didn't, you know, and
finally somebody gave her grace.
Because she summed it up very nicely. Everyone in this town has been affected by Clyde. He has a way of making people do things, you know, under duress, and gave her grace. Not even gave her grace, is like, oh, you need a job? Call my office tomorrow. My assistants. I'm like, okay, this is an interesting. Now she's gonna sit. Now we're getting some Kat's getting some roots here, so she'll hopefully be on for a while.
I did pause though when Marlena was like, "I have to run it by Kayla, of course." I was like, "Oh, okay." Well,
I was like, "That well, there goes the roadblock."
Don't buy work clothes too fast, girl. You may not have this job.
This job Kayla's gonna be like,
It'll take some time. Look, if Julie could get over Ben being a serial killer and welcome him into the family, she can surely get over her anger at Kat.
Julie is still holding on to that grudge, man. I was like, girl,
Julie is a very forgiving person, with the exception of one, and it's not Kat.
Gabi.
Well, two so far until she forgives Kat.
No. I don't think that she's gonna hold a grudge forever for Kat.
Well, Julie's dealing with other demons right now.
Exactly.
She needs to heal herself, get herself some help before, or just let her grief take a hold.
Julie she broke my heart this week, and I can't. What?
This is not funny. Before we go into the grief part, which is sad and everything, I could not stop cackling when Julie was deleting everyone's message. I found that so funny. It was so weird. I was like, why is she delete? Like, I understand like her looking at the message, and I thought, you know, she would just move on or skip it. But the fact that she kept deleting everyone who was trying to be nice to her, I don't know why that made me laugh so hard. I was like, girl, why are you deleting everyone's message?
Because she's like, ain't nobody got time for this. Like, y'all leave me alone. Let me grieve. Y'all know what happened.
That made me so funny. That she wasn't like, oh, I'll answer them later. She was like, no, delete. Like, it was a telemarketer song. It was like, Marie, how are you, honey? Delete. It was like, Jennifer, I love you, Julie. Delete. I was like, damn, Julie. I don't know. Julie's for some reason.
Julie trying to get to bed, honey. She ain't got time for all these text messages. I will say this before we also move on. I love Susan Seaforth Hayes and Billy Flynn together.
Yeah,
it's like those scenes. It's almost it doesn't feel like work. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like a very natural chemistry where it's like they have the lines and they just go over it for each other, and the feelings are and everything are just naturally there. Yeah. But I also, I still, my heart still goes out to Susan because, you know, grief is real, but the fact that she has to grieve as Susan, but also grieve as Julie.
Yeah,
it's like lines about Doug that she's given. It's kind of like, does that stir up something for her because you're essentially talking about Bill, you know? So it's like, kudos to her.
She's knocking out of the park.
It's not acting at that point. It's just everything that she's feeling, everything she's had to go to in the last year. And yeah, guys, as of today, it's been a year since Bill Hayes has been gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's just, for Susan, for as long as you are willing to share yourself as Julie with us, we will love you and support however you want to handle it.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. It's a beautiful job.
All right. Well, shall we move on to the Brothers Grimm?
I mean, this was never going to work out. But
what was never going to work out?
Xander and okay, I get it's a two-part question. Philip getting away with this was forging the letter was never going to work out. But Philip and Xander, anybody thinking Philip and Xander could make something work for one day? That was crazy.
I had hope that they, or I still have hope that they'll eventually. I think something has to happen. There has to be someone has to come after them. Someone has to come after the company. Something has to kind of bond them into working together. But I think it's possible. Of course, it's not going to work at first because they're both very stubborn, very bullheaded straight men. And so, of course, they're not gonna. They're oh, I'm planning a hostile takeover of Demira Enterprises. Well, of course, Philip's not going to like that. He's not going to like any idea Xander has right off the bat.
No.
But
if it's like it might make sense from a business perspective, but I do understand part of Philip's rationale for not just what it might bring to everybody surrounding them.
Yeah, I thought he was right.
Oh yeah,
I agreed with him. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I get it. I think, the same Demiras, well, I guess other than EJ, like Stefano's not around anymore.
But Kristen is.
I don't know. I think it was more, I don't know. I just, the way Philip was playing it, I think it was more about, he used what happened last time as a reason, but he was rejecting it more because it was Xander's idea. Like if Philip had the idea, it would have been, like if Philip had the idea, you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. I agree. It's how much of rejecting Xander is rejecting Xander, and how much of it is rejecting it as just a bad idea for the family. And I actually think it's pretty equal because the look on Philip's face, there was an amount of fear there because. If anybody remembers just how bad that Titan Demira feud got, I mean, it got bad. Stephanie getting kidnapped and almost killed wasn't even the worst of it. Philip was shot. Tony was killed, but he was shot. Yeah, it got bad. It got real bad for a while there, for a couple months there, and I really don't think Philip wants a repeat. And I think that if any of the brothers were in charge, I think he might feel better about that plan. But he has firsthand knowledge of just how whacked out Kristen is, and so I think he knows this is a bad idea.
I think the Xander, for me, it was like the Xander factor of it because Xander wasn't part of it last time.
Yeah.
I feel like Xander and Kristen if Kristen's the issue, Xander can go toe to toe with Kristen, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that part of it where maybe, I can understand Philip's reasoning, but again, I think it also was a lot to just say no to Xander. A lot.
I think Xander is the one. This is how I feel. He's trying to make this work with Philip, and I think Philip is the one that's most resistant to it because I feel like he's like, I'm Victor's son, almost like how much blood you got in you of Victor,
I thought I did chuckle when they were fighting over the desk. Then suddenly they're sitting like in a school. I did kind of chuckle. I was like, that's not gonna work either, but okay. Good for you for trying.
It's like, what, like, go to the other office, honey.
The other office did not sound bad, but
I know, didn't
sound bad, but you know, who knows?
It's a pissing contest with them. Yeah,
exactly. Whose dick's
It
bigger?
always is.
And just like that, Stephanie has a reason to no longer pursue Philip.
That was quick. Yeah,
that was very quick. She was like, she heard that and she was like, "Bye, no dinner."
I'm surprised it was revealed this early. I thought it would play out a lot longer.
Yeah, I think they needed to wrap that up too.
But so do we think she'll keep her mouth shut?
I don't know, because when it was
Philip, because it's a wrap then if it comes out, he's not going to be the CEO if it comes out. So I kind of feel like she keeps her mouth shut.
Who was she talking to before they
Sarah,
yes.
That's right.
No, I think she's going to tell Sarah. Sarah's going to tell Xander. And then for some reason, Xander is not going to want to say anything. I think it's going to be like, because you would expect, Abigail, Sarah, Stephanie knows. She tells Sarah, I just names
everybody.
Oh,
Sarah knows. So we're expecting, here's what we're expecting. Stephanie to tell Sarah, Sarah to tell Xander, Xander to throat punch Philip and kick him into last week. I think there's going to be some reason that Xander doesn't reveal. He'll find out, but not reveal it, or not confront him, or confront him, but keep it a secret.
See, I'm thinking Sarah's going to be the one to keep it a secret. Because this week it seemed like she liked the fact that Xander and Philip were a balance to each other a little bit. It seemed like she was being kind of reasonable about them working together. And then when she found out that Xander was gonna do the underhanded thing and then Philip stopped him, I kind of feel like maybe Sarah is gonna be the one to like keep the secret. And
because then that would because Sarah and Xander have been happy for a minute, so that would eventually.
Now that I'm thinking, I feel like she's gonna be the one to. Because I feel like they have to stay co-CEOs for a little while. I mean, the storyline's over if it comes out, and then
it can be over. All right. Well, our last tidbit. Holly to the rescue. Let me tell you. If I was Holly and I came into that park and saw them two men, call me Homer Simpson.
I left the oven on. I'm gonna just go home.
But man, what did they do to him?
Yeah.
And furthermore, why'd you go over there knowing that you didn't have all that money?
He thought he could give him an IOU.
Because he dumb.
And what is the money for?
Yeah, we still don't know that.
Oh.
Also,
I will say,
why does he owe these guys money? Because so we owed these guys money. He took the necklace to sell it to get the money,
right?
But we never figured out why.
We just don't know why. Yeah, he owes them money to begin with. I will say I like Doug now that Holly's in his orbit. I feel like he's a little bit more interesting now. Yeah. I think he was just kind of skating or coasting when he was during the holidays, but I think they're
slowly figuring out them.
Okay, anyone else assume that Leo has the necklace, right? That was Leo's money he gave him?
Mr. Stark.
What?
Anyone else? Am I the only one who
thinks it's Leo behind it?
Yeah, I don't think Leo sold the necklace. I think that was Leo's money that he gave as a because the fact that the money was short when he gave it to him, like I couldn't get as much as you needed. I think that was Leo trying to do something good.
I don't think
you got his ass beat up.
I don't think so. I think that Leo is. I don't think Leo is that selfless, and I think people are cheap.
You think Leo sold the necklace?
Yeah. I don't think Leo is that selfless.
No.
And people and people these days are just cheap.
I think
He
they've
might
been
be.
showing us a new Leo, and there's no way he would have sold Alice Horton's necklace. I think it's him trying to be a good person.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Messy situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Holly, don't be. Listen, he fine, especially without his shirt off.
You look bad.
But Holly, don't fall for it. You done seen this man get roughed up, and now done told you about this necklace.
The bad boy. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, we
And
okay.
she is giving way too much of Tate and Sophia's business to this new guy, Doug, who she just met. I was like, okay, girl, you don't have to tell him everything. You can keep some of it private and still sort of hang out with him. Just be vague about it. But
That instills trust, Justin. That's how relationships start. It's through trust.
Yeah, well.
And who else does she have to talk? Who else? Like, Aaron's not there. That would be her friend. She can't talk to Sophia because Sophia's a hoe.
Yeah.
She can't talk to Tate because Tate's a hoe. You know. So
Yeah, that's more of a sign that she just doesn't have a lot of friends.
she doesn't have a lot of friends. Yeah, so I can see why maybe she blurted out everything just because she needed to get it out to someone, and he seemed like a, whatever.
Well, Holly, let this be your last rescue.
I don't know about that.
now she's gonna get money for that part. I was like, I thought maybe she was gonna say like I have some money saved up, but when she said I'll ask my grandmother, I was like, oh girl, no, you're already off to a horrible start with this guy.
But also, how much money we talking?
Yeah, I'm guessing a couple thousand because he has no money. So I mean, I don't think it's an insurmountable amount. But
No, what he was saying, he would have to work a long time to save up that amount of money. I mean, if it's just a couple of thousands, that's like a few months. If you don't spend nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I just assumed it was a couple thousand, like nothing outlandish.
It just feels like it's significant when you got to go to your grandmama.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was going to say like, oh, I have a trust or, something.
Yeah. But also, how much money could Holly reasonably ask Maggie for? Like,
Without it being suspicious.
Is she going to go to her and say, I need 20 grand? No, I don't.
Bitch, what you need 20 grand for?
Exactly. I kind of feel like if she said, I need a couple, 2,500 maybe.
She could do what Lucas did back in the day when he and Sammy were trying to get money and he couldn't get into his trust fund. He slid a slip for Kate to sign to give him access and slipped it in a bunch of papers and she signed it and that's how they were able to get it. Except the bank called Kate and was like, girl, your son's trying to do some shit. And she came shouting into the bank and was like, what's going on here?
You signed for it.
I mean, assuming that Holly is a part of this generation that actually knows what a check looks like, sure.
All right. Well,
Debbie
that
Bright.
was your week of days.
Holly has a money market account. Debbie Bright today, man. Salty.
What are you drinking, Debbie?
That stuff you usually drink?
Spalding,
all right.
Springfield.
Let's move on.
Some Spalding Lewis wine. All right. Well, that was your week of days, everybody. And now it's time to head into our favorite part of our show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official first of 2025 Three Snaps Award. Snap! All right. My 3 Snaps Award goes to this entire scene because let me tell you, watching Ava struggle to not cuss out little Rachel while Rachel stood 10 toes down to Ava being like, don't you talk to my mama like that. And then looking at Kristen trying to figure out how to play the middle woman between Ava and her child. Mm-hmm. So Tamara Braun, Finley Rose, and Stacey Hydu for this amazing scene, and especially to Tamara Braun playing Ava, who didn't just smack that little girl across her head. You get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Oh, I love that scene so much. And Finley really she held her own in that scene. And you could tell the whole time, Ava was just like, if you don't get your little nappy-headed daughter out of my face. I loved it. And now it's time for it.
Caption that.
Continuing in the Demira mansion, we have this photo of Stacey Hayduke and Eric Martov, Kristen and Brady talking about shit. And this week's caption goes to Annette C. Thompson on Instagram with her caption, Kristen, do you still have the Nicole mask? Things are getting a little stale with Ava.
Oh.
Wow.
Our fans know us so well. I feel like, you know what? I would love to play a game of what's that humanity game? Cards Against Humanity. I think our fans would know how to make us laugh.
Oh my God.
Maybe our next happy hour.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
Oh my God.
All right. And that was
Caption that.
and now it's time for
Those were the days.
All right, everyone, take you back to January 5th, 2007, where we said goodbye to Patrick Lockhart, here played by Brody Hutzler. If you don't remember Patrick, he was the son of Bonnie and siblings to Mimi and Connor. He had about a 3-year stint on the show, lots of romantic entanglements with lots of women and interesting plot lines. I think if you are a member, you will see me do a Those Were the Days Extended, where I get into further his time on the show and also some behind the scenes tea that sort of led to his departure. But yeah, that was January 2007 when Brody Hutzler last appeared as Patrick Lockhart.
and
Those were the days.
and now it's time for
It's a gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to, like Tony, I couldn't take my eyes off of her, Miss Rachel Black, in what I am going to call the Chucky look.
not the Chucky look.
Like I said, this girl is a few years away from being on an episode of Dayline.
More like Megan. Remember Megan?
Ooh, no,
I would run if I were you.
Oh, yeah. Rachel Finley, you are. Rachel Boyd, you are. No, wait. Which one?
Finley
Rose.
Finley Rose. I'm getting all these names mixed up, just like everybody else. Finley Rose, you are a treasure. Please stay innocent.
That looked really.
She's
Let's play it
scary.
again.
Oop, 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 oop.
It's like, bitch, what? And that was.
It's a gift.
And now it's time for news and gossip.
All right, we are starting off with some casting news we have got at the top of the year here. First up is we have a new actress who is stepping into the role of Sophia Choi. This is Rachel Boyd. She will take over from who I think has just been doing a really great job, Madeline Keats, who's currently playing Sophia Choi. So yes, we will see Rachel debut as Sophia on February 12th. So yeah, congrats. I'm sure we'll miss Madeline, but I'm interested to see what Rachel will do with the role moving forward. Next up, Kim Coles is back as Nurse Whitley King. We can expect to see her. I think she debuts on February 5th. As of right now, I believe it may be a 1 or 2 episode thing, is what I've been reading, but we'll see if it lasts longer than that. But Kim Coles is back as Nurse Whitley, so we'll see her in a couple weeks. And last but not least, we have, speaking of Finley Rose, we are actually going to be saying goodbye to her because Alice Halsey is actually going to be the new Rachel Black. She's actually going to be taking over the role from Finley coming up. We can expect to see her. Actually, she's going to premiere the end of April. So we'll still have a few more months with Finley in the role, but Alice Halsey will be taking it over in April. So yeah.
Phew, lots of changes in the new year. There was a pretty big change announced as well to the daytime Emmys, folks. Where usually you will see them in June, but they are on the move to October. So the daytime Emmys starting this year, I don't know if they'll be for consecutive years. We'll see. At least this year will be in October 2025. The news and documentary Emmys will take its place in June. We will let you know as more details emerge about specific dates and what network it's going to be on this year.
Yeah, moving right along, we want to offer some congratulations to Days alum Steve Burton. Over the holidays, he got engaged to his girlfriend, Michelle Lundstrom. So big congrats and best wishes to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really sweet photos.
Yes. And one of our day's favorites, Julie Dove, will be doing a live taping of the B.D. Freeman show this coming Wednesday. Oh my gosh, we're already in the middle of January. This coming Wednesday, January 15th at the Theater 68 Art Complex in North Hollywood. For tickets and information, go to the bdfreeman.show or follow at the Brady Freeman Show on social media.
Yes, and you can check out one of our old favorites, Ms. Chriselle Staus. She debuted this past week on the new seasons of Traders, which is streaming on Peacock, and they have new episodes every Thursday. So please head over and check her out there. Also, our Days cast sort of wrapped up the year, sharing some of their sort of favorite holiday moments and also some of their favorite storylines on the Instagram account at Days Peacock. So please head over and check those out. And last but not least, for us, we talked about how we have our subscriber channel, of course, and we've actually released some previous subscriber content to the main feed, so you can check out some interviews there that we've done, as well as see your favorite stars sort of either answer questions or do dramatic readings, or I think both mine and Araceli's segments are also up there too. So go check those out on our page, Dishin Days.
Yes, those might be coming up sooner than you think. What else is coming up is the day players. They are going to start getting ready for their 2025 shows. The announced cities that they will be in 2025 are Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Addison, Texas, Albany, New York, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania. For tickets and information, go to thedayplayersband.com.
Yes, and Star Image Entertainment is having a Zoom Q&A with Eric Martsoff and Greg Rickard. This one is taking place on January 26th. All tickets and info, you can go to eventbrite.com/Star Image Entertainment.
Yes, and we have an upcoming event from Starstruck Fan Events. This is going to be the Cinco de Derby event, April 5th through 6th at the Meadowlands Racetrack in New Jersey. You can book now to get your tickets and information at starstruckfanevents.com. And people attending will be Paul Telfer, Lindsay Godfrey, Judy Evans, Matthew Ashford, Remington Hoffman, and our very own Judy.
Yes, and just a quick update. I know some people, they were having a soap opera reunion musical event that they were going to take place late February. That event we just heard before we got on air, that event was just canceled. So those of you who may have been interested in going, or those of you who have signed up already, I'm sure you'll be contacted about refunds or rescheduling. But yeah, that event was just canceled. So just an update to them. But what is not canceled is Samantha and Friends is having their Winter Wonderland charity fundraiser gala. This one is taking place the weekend of May 3rd through 4th of this year. And all tickets and info, you can go to samanthasfriends.org.
And we here at Dishin Days are celebrating our 10th anniversary this February. And this is the official announcement, guys, that we will be having a 10th anniversary get-together Saturday, February 8th, here in West Hollywood in LA at Rocco's. So if you would like to come and join us, if you're in the area, please come and join us to celebrate 10 years of Dishin Days. We will be releasing more details about the event and the weekend's celebrations in the weeks to come.
Yeah, and if you've been paying attention to our social media and you've seen the post of fans in LA or near LA, that's one of the reasons why we've been gathering information. So after the show, I will post it again if you guys want to join us and make sure you get the information. If you've already done it, you don't have to do it again. Yay, 10 years.
Yay.
Yay!
Oh, and that was
News and gossip.
And now it's time to find out what's coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives.
Is he safe? You would know, wouldn't you?
If you know where Rafe is, you need to tell me.
You can get the hell out of my house. Welcome back to Salem PD, partner.
I'm not gonna let this tear us apart.
I'm not gonna let you get hurt, Holly.
Don't go yet.
If Xander finds out that I tricked him out of his birthright,
He won't rest until Philip's head is on a spike.
Well, guess what? We'll be here to talk about it next Sunday live at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another full dish of Dishin Days, where we bring you all of our thoughts and opinions about what happened this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives. And before we head out, Michael Madden. Oh, yeah. Find us on all social media platforms. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, Dishin Days on Instagram, X, and Threads. Michael Mattis, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, X at MLMattis.
Justin Lee Hareld.
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli Aviles.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And you already know where to find us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love being back in 2025 to serve up many dishes about our favorite soap opera days of our lives. Until then, have a wonderful week. Stay safe. And as always, love one another. Bye, everybody.
Bye.